thinking about it. All right, let me pull up. What was all that? Which, just to see that we are live. All right, I'm going to at the community. Uh, oh, probably wait for a couple people to. Does it not show on my end? Ooh. Okay, two. There we go. Now it's showing. Hey, how's it going, Core?
Hello, hello. Hello there.
How's it going, TexX?
For anyone tuned in, please feel free before more people get in here to just let us know how our audio sounds, just the volumes between Tim and I.
Yeah, if either one of us are too loud, too quiet, because I know last time, for those who were there, there's an issue with me coming through. Hopefully, that is not the case.
Awesome.
Will
Thank
sound
you.
fine. All right. So, yeah, just want to see how everyone's doing tonight or today. I guess it depends on your time zone. But yeah, how's everyone doing? All right, so we got a couple people in here. Do we want to get like officially started with our, I guess, update?
Yep. So for everyone here currently, that Discord link to the community update on the Conqueror game website is now live. So for those of you who want to tune in to the community update and follow along with us on the website, feel free to go to Discord and do that. All right, let us see here.
All right, so guessing people who are here at least had a chance to open it up. So yeah, as kind of stated over the past year, our team has been working hard at Conquer Reign of Madness, and what has started out as an 8-person team has now increased to team size of over 25 people, and even then we are still looking to actively recruit and actively get more people on the team. And yeah, just finding a whole bunch of honestly great team members that are willing to go ahead and try to make a game like the one that we are trying to make, especially because for whatever different reason people are drawn to what we have been doing, and it's been very gratifying to hear that so many people are interested in what we're doing. And we just kind of wanted to go ahead and take a time to reflect, especially as Thanksgiving is right around the corner for Americans, and then before you know it, it's going to be the holiday season. So just kind of wanted to go ahead and talk about how things have been going and where we're going to be going uh, by the time that or before we hit next summer, which is when the demo should be launching. So, uh, almost a year ago, the team behind Conquer Reign of Madness went through several shifts in development. And that was through, just the way that management changed, the way that we wanted to view the game differently, what the community was asking for, and just kind of all of us learning about making the game or a game in general. Because while some of us have had either industry experience or overall knowledge in game development, it's not been the entire team. So it has been a learning curve for everybody, but it's one that we've all been very excited to go ahead and take on together. And when management shifted, we had to go back to the drawing board, and we kind of looked at the game that we wanted to make and what was really inspiring us. And that was that we wanted to make sure we were not just being a clone, but we were also doing something that was unique and still pushing what we originally found so fascinating into something new. And there was two important goals for us. That was to take our team seriously and to improve the quality of our output. And so, what that looks like is that first we sat down and addressed the state of our team and our priorities in development. And to improve the structure of our team, we established leadership across all departments. We've been constantly organizing and reorganizing documentation, and started the slow process of going through all of the legal hoops to actually form a studio, and not just a studio, because I think nowadays a lot of people think, oh yeah, like a studio, just pumping out things that they're not passionate about. We have taken something, we've been taking in a direction which every single person on our team should be proud of, especially management, to be something that's different, and just something that a lot of people can look forward to hearing and seeing and playing games from us. And secondly, to improve the quality of our work. We stripped ourselves back from the drawing board and began to reboot our pipeline, and that starts at the very ground level. Making sure that the writers are working hard to flesh out the narrative in the world, making sure that designers are helping inform how our game is going to play, concept artists to take the lore that is being made and uh, help develop for everybody what that's going to be looking like. So, programmers know exactly how it should be looking in engine, and for animators to understand what they need to be creating, and even the audio team to have them understand what kind of sounds that we're going for to make sure that everything, again, is a cohesive unit. Um, because at the end of the day, there are some people who do game development separately, and props to all the solo devs out there. It's something I cannot do, and I think a lot of people on our team don't really want to do it, because we've all learned that game development is collaboration, and that's something that we've all kind of really enjoyed the process of. So, across this year's development, we have been pretty transparent about everything that we've been trying to do, and uh, especially with our community being so kind to us about, again, hearing us out, and we want to make sure that we continue to build that bridge of trust and make something that because I think we've all been there where you are interested in a game or in a studio and quickly kind of spirals out where what they're saying isn't aligned with their actions, and these games are taking a different direction than what you hoped for, and the end product's not the same as what was originally promised. And that's something that, again, we are very adamant about making sure that we are not doing. And that even comes back to with the cancellation of our Patreon for those who have been around for that long. Anyone who has not seen that message, we have again canceled our Patreon. And one of the big things is there has been a handful of people who've donated to us, and we want to make sure that at this time, because we have not touched those funds, that we go ahead and we return them. So if you're somebody who in the past has donated to us, check your Patreon account. There's a very strong chance that we have a message waiting for you about the proper way to go ahead and get you your money back up until we launch our Kickstarter. And in the past, we've had several updates going ahead showcasing either changes in the art, whether that be assets, models, stuff like that. Some of the musical scores that we've been drafting, additional lore that we've been making, and pretty recently the actual in-engine footage, just to kind of show that we're serious about what we're doing. And while this November update is far more narrative, we are planning for December update, which is the last one of the year, to leave plenty for the community to sit with over our studio's holiday, and then the turn of the new year, where we will once again be, working as hard as we can. We're not ready to discuss what this update will include, but we are certainly aiming for it to have a bit more development progress to show off across all departments. And in most cases, our development of the game will largely pause for our studio during, again, the aforementioned Thanksgiving to Christmas holiday season. But that doesn't mean that during this time we're going to be ignoring the community. So whether that's chiming in to our question of the weeks, or our live streams, or just having conversations within the Discord, and getting that interaction from the team to the community is something that we really want to take that pretty seriously. But as for next year, Jack, do you want to take it away from here?
Sure. So, just like Tim said before, we recently announced some major changes for the development of Conqueror. This meant that we announced the delay for the game to summer of 2026 next year from the original December release that we planned for this year. We also announced the ending of the Patreon that Tim talked about before. So just as he said, for anybody who's on our Patreon, if you missed what he said before, please check your Patreon account for a message that should be there regarding the potential for refunds and the way we will be dealing with the Patreon going forward. And finally, we also announced that Conqueror will have the crowdfunding campaign. Now, this is obviously the big ticket topic here. So for those of you who were keenly aware of the crowdfunding campaign that we mentioned in the delay announcement, let's talk a little bit about what that looks like and what the next year for Conqueror looks like. So first up, in order for a crowdfunding campaign to ever even begin, we have to make sure that the demo that we deliver is going to be the best possible iteration of that demo we can release. The team is full hands on deck to produce a core demo experience of narrative, gameplay, and a real vertical slice of what we intend to do with the final game, so that you, our community, will be, happily pleased with what we're going to be able to produce across all of our departments, and with our opus of advertising our skills here. So all in all, our goal is to make a solid demo experience with our minimum viable product, so that everyone can see what our goals are at the bare minimum with gameplay, mechanics, and how the overall game should look. And from that should help inform your decisions to help support us further with crowdfunding. Now, the next most important thing with the crowdfunding campaign is that in order for our crowdfunding campaign to succeed, Conquer is going to need more eyes on it in general. This is going to mean that starting with January of 2026, after our holiday season, we'll have potentially revamped community updates, more live streams, and more official marketing material. But really, the only thing that we can officially promise there is that we're going to have a significant shift in priority for how we're going to market the game and make sure that as we're leading up to the demo and we have more and more consistent tangible assets to share, that the rest of the world is going to get to see them. This means we're going to reinvest our efforts in how we're showcasing the game, how we're advertising it. You may see us pop up in other places, but this is mostly because while the community is very important to us, we're going to need significantly more eyes seeing Conqueror to help make sure that the crowdfunding campaign can reach its best potential so that we can all receive the best version of the game that we can receive. So regarding the crowdfunding campaign, obviously, when it doesn't come to marketing and it doesn't come to just trying to craft the demo experience, we're trying to make sure that we're doubling down on the experience of the crowdfunding campaign so that you, as a potential consumer, are able to see exactly what we're promising for the game, and that way you know exactly what kind of backer goals you'd receive for helping support Conqueror going forward with the Patreon, with the crowdfunding campaign and the demo, as well as exactly what goals we'd be promising for the final game. Now, obviously, for very successful crowdfunding campaigns in the past, people have been surprised and earned way more than they could have expected, and because of that, we will have estimated and tried our best to set up goals well beyond what we think we will actually make with the crowdfunding campaign, just in case we see some severely unexpected success. However, as for our realistic, tangible goals for the game, we'll be very upfront for what we'd be asking for and what we think we could be able to receive and produce with the money given to us. So for you, that means that when the crowdfunding campaign launches alongside the release of the demo, you'll be able to not only play the demo, but then find our crowdfunding campaign and be able to know exactly what you would receive for the amount that you give towards the development of the game, and also understand how that will directly affect what content will make it to the final game. This could be very many things that we're not willing to promise at this time, but the team has been actively discussing this for the past year, where we've been planning this crowdfunding campaign and talking about how to best expand the game well beyond what we think the demo could show. So despite everything that I just spoke about there, we absolutely want to ensure that for those of you who are on this live stream and for anyone who reads this community document, that the community is still going to come first. So while the studio will grow, the game may become more successful and far more eyes may see the game and join our Discord community. We just want everyone to know that we're going to be looking into ways to better improve the newsletter options for our website, and that will also include perhaps future opportunities to help with the development of the game with your insights and community feedback, because having been with us from the start, the community is just as important to us as our development team is itself. So that being said, as of this time, we're very interested in making sure that we continue to manifest the positivity of our community and receiving the feedback and mutual understanding between us as we develop the game that you're all looking for, and we have the community that we'd like for our game. So across this symbiotic relationship, we hope to continue to just foster that and provide more opportunities, communicate our intentions with you all, and put you first ahead of things like worldwide marketing and things like that. But the goal is still to expand the product, and we hope that you all can welcome with open arms anybody else who joins the Discord community because of the advanced marketing campaigns that we'll run. So all in all, that's most of the November update. This is a far more narrative update where we wanted to address the past year of development, to have a look back, talk about the expanse of our team, the updates to our development cycle, our pipeline for how we produced assets. We wanted to address the obvious for how things have changed and where we are now across the way the website has come up, the way the website has evolved over time, the community updates, how they've looked over time and what we've been able to deliver, and also our feedback to the community, the feedback we've received from the community, and how we've been able to put that forward. And then obviously at the end here, we wanted to wrap everything up nicely and talk about what 2026 will look like. And we will have far more to share in 2026 with the turn of the new year. And so keep in mind, as Tim said, and as we say multiple times throughout this community update, this is not the last community update of the year. We will be doing another community update in December, so everybody tune in to that live stream on the first Sunday of December, where we hope to share more. And we don't want to get people's hopes up that it's going to be something like the biggest update of the year or something like that. We would love to do that to finish off the year, but ultimately our goal is to just make sure that you have something to chew on across the holiday season, and then we'll try to pick up the pace as much as we can in 2026 and share as much as possible. And so while this isn't included in the community update here, for those of you on the live stream, we are actively talking about, without being able to promise anything, more live streams. I know some of the team members are interested in doing things like live streaming Overlord the same way that Raven was in the past on Twitch, on this Twitch channel, to allow the community to follow along with that so that fans of Overlord can see someone else play the games. We have members on the team who've never played Overlord that would like to play the game for the first time and react to it as a live stream. We may also be doing live streams regarding asset creation. You may be able to get behind closed doors looks at the in progress development of the soundtrack, things like that. So while we're exploring those options and aren't willing to promise those things yet, we'll see what comes with 2026. And you may be able to expect more consistent reasons to be on this Twitch channel with us and have community updates or newsletters across the website. But our priority is still to maintain these monthly newsletters. But that's mostly it for November. So that's to close out the November update. So I suppose, Tim, you and I can start to take any community questions we may have received from the community or anything that anybody in chat would like to ask us about or talk about.
Yeah, so we do have a portion within our community Discord to go ahead and ask questions. If you're not able to attend the live streams, but you're able to watch the VODs and you want those questions answered, that's probably the best place to do it. Although you can ask us directly, but we may or may not be able to give an answer at that time. But we did not receive anything this past month. So yeah, if there's any questions in the stream chat, we can go ahead and answer those now. Have we settled on an approximate price for the game at release, or will it be free to play? In an ideal world where we didn't have to worry about paying the entire team and making sure the studio can continuously grow, it would be free to play. But that's unfortunately not the world that we live in. Approximate price point, that's something that we are still in talks in. Ballpark ranges can be somewhere between 15 and 40, but again, that's something that we still need a lot of conversation about.
Yeah, I think that would be perfect world. I think the real tangible answer here is that we just don't know yet. Um, as we estimate what the game will look like, we don't want the crowdfunding campaign and the success of it to necessarily affect the overall price for the release of the game, but we do want the amount of effort put into the game by the team and the way that we're handling our basically the way that the team is contributing to the game, the way that we've set up the team, the way that our studio operates. We want to be able to reflect the amount of effort that we're putting in and reward our team members with the success of the game. And in doing so, that also contributes to something like the price of the final product. And that also is going to be based on, essentially, as I said before, just how much content makes it into the final game. So while we have our ambitions and we understand and can start to estimate how long that'll take for the development time, things like the crowdfunding campaign, the success of that, and how many additional goals we meet will affect things like development time. And additionally, for a far more practical answer, for anybody who hasn't been following along journalistically for video games in the industry right now, there are many different factors between Microsoft's approach to trying to price their games at $80, the way storefronts are operating and handling the accessibility of new titles and new IPs across their platforms, and just the very real fact that major releases like Grand Theft Auto 6 will be releasing in early next year, and many journalists are estimating that to be the very first or the new industry standard for releasing at $100 for the base gameplay experience, potentially even without multiplayer or any additional gameplay options. So while there's estimations that the story alone for Grand Theft Auto 6 might release at $100 base price without any additions or pre-orders included, that will affect the industry at large. And while we don't expect to be anywhere near that price point or compete with that, we understand that as that has ramifications throughout the industry and that affects the overall pricing of games, we look at other things like the recent releases of Hollow Knight Silksong and the fact that they released the game for the price that it is, for the size of the team, and how much content is included in those games. We take a look at, obviously, for our own research, the crowdfunding campaign that they held initially for the first Hollow Knight almost a decade ago, and how they released that game with its price point despite the amount of content that released in that game, as well as other indie teams and their successes across crowdfunding campaigns like Pillars of Eternity. So, um, in that sense, there's no practical way for us to answer exactly how much the game will cost, but it will not release free to play, which is something that we would love. But in order to do that, we would have to completely redefine our approach to how we would release content for the game and how we would service the title after launch, which isn't something that we're planning on necessarily in that way. Our goal is to produce a full-fledged experience with the launch of the game, and having a free-to-play game would mean that we'd be more likely to have to push things on the community for us to be able to make the game profitable in any way, for us to reward the studio that worked on it, our wonderful staff and everything that they've signed up for and the things that we've promised them across the game, and for us to service the community and what we've promised them as far as content. So without such a corporate answer, it's just impossible for us to say now, especially as the industry just changes every day.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not familiar enough with Half Sword to really be able to make a comparison to.
So again, I'm also not familiar with Half Sword's approach. From my understanding, though, I know that Half Sword has done either a demo release or multiple demo releases. Our goal overall, we just wanted to be very upfront about that, is that we wanted to do a single demo release for Conqueror. We've discussed potential options for supporting that demo post the demo launch for ways to introduce other mechanics and things like that. We haven't settled on those things. And while we'd love community feedback on that, we're also trying to manage expectations for what we can handle for the demo's development and then release. And then our goal is not to dwell on the demo for too long with servicing it with content updates or anything like that, and make it seem like some kind of live service beta branch, just because we want to be able to continue to prioritize expanding that for the full game, which will take significantly longer to develop than the demo. But the demo's release is supposed to help bolster the understanding of the Kickstarter and for people to get an idea of the actual final product through the demo's presentation. And so we're treating it as it's supposed to be, a demo. And with that, like we said before, the success of the crowdfunding campaign, depending on how we pull off the demo and whether or not people are happy with what's inside the demo, will help contribute to how long the game will take to develop, and then ultimately how much content we'll release in the game. And then all of those things combined will help us settle for a price point we think is actually both accessible and reasonable across the industry for the size of the team working on it and how much we're trying to pull off. If we end up producing the greatest AAA experience possible for an indie dev studio because of the amount of work we put into it, and it has sizable content with an amazing production value and beautiful artwork and music, we would love to be able to sell that at a significant discount compared to what other games sell that at. And so that's our goal. But obviously we want it to reflect the amount of production quality we can put into it as well. So if we work to the best of our ability and it comes across as an indie game, we hope to price it reasonably as well. Do we have any other questions from chat?
Okay, will the demo be PG-12, like PG-16? So PG-12 and PG-16. I mean, I guess it depends on where you're at, because I know America usually is like PG-13. And even then, that's more uh, for cinema than it is for games. I mean, we would probably be going for a teen to mature rating. Uh, Actually, let me look, because Overlord itself was teen. So yeah, probably teen to mature. And I see we might be getting a question or two from our Discord, which again is another great way to go ahead and communicate with us. So this could be a question more so for you, Jack. What medium of marketing do you want to do?
Yeah, so that will, our marketing campaign will overall include um, new additions and new improvements to our community updates and newsletter approach. So you'll probably be seeing more marketing assets, more visuals. We'll probably be trying to push our content further and what we're able to show. And then also, as we get closer and closer to the crowdfunding launch, and we have much more tangible footage of the demo that we're willing to show with much better builds closer to the release of the demo in the crowdfunding campaign, we'll probably be pushing actual trailers. You will see a consistent growth across our marketing campaign, like you would see other indie projects as we get closer to the release of the demo, and then obviously throughout the development of the game. So I think our initial approach is going to be handling it like a very short, condensed version of a normal game's development. In January, you'll start to see better marketing material across our newsletter, website, things like that. Towards the end of the spring, you will start to see uh, far more video content from us and far more clear marketing material based on the actual content of the demo that we're going to be releasing, and far more links and pushes from us for the crowdfunding campaign as that starts to go live with the demo, and just to um, as we push our ambitions in that way. And then with the demo's release, obviously we'll have things like release trailers, we'll have major announcement banners. You'll find us popping up in other places across the internet. But after the demo's release, something that's far less concrete, something that I think we're probably going to be leaning into more as we start the new beginning road to development for the full release of the game, you'll start to see stuff from us much more akin to the other indie games that you might follow. So video content from us, more content from the team, consistent community updates as we were doing before. Uh, the updates may change in while they are going to remain consistent, they may not be in the same time frame so that we can push for larger community updates at a time. We may be doing different types of live streams, we may be doing different types of content, and we may very well just be trying to ingratiate the community far more with our development team so that they know who those team members are, what the development's looking like, just because we're trying to be considerate to how long developing a game can take. And for right now, everything that everybody has supported us on is just for the demo alone. So the marketing campaign will be quite specific just for the demo for now in 2026. Once the demo releases in summer of 2026, we'll start the long road to actual development. And so hopefully we'll have far more eyes and our community will be larger. And then to service that, we'll be producing more, just many different types of content. So to answer your question right now, it'll be like, it'll be more actual marketing material and assets that you've seen. So mediums include video, newsletter posts, emails, things like that, announcements, photographs and images across other areas of the internet, and then post demo release and post crowdfunding campaign release, you'll start to see things like YouTube shorts, more consistent YouTube videos, different live streams, different video content from us, different types of posts, cultivation of a subreddit, things like that. So those are the types of things you'll see from us going forward for marketing.
Yeah, if there's any further additional questions from either Dream or from Discord, now it's a good time to ask. If not, we'll probably start our wrap up pretty soon. All right, if we have no further questions, then we appreciate everyone that was willing to sit in on this community update with us to go ahead and ask a couple questions, just to listen to us. Questions in the doc. Uh, so why questions in the doc? It's a combination of yes, being able to give more thought out answers, but also making sure that um, as we go forward, uh, a lot of the videos, from what I've been told and what I've been seeing, it's a lot easier for somebody to catch up on just a video than it is to read through post on post through Discord. So, for those who are later to our project and wanting to catch up and see like what's been happening, it's a good way for them to, you know, get that full picture. All right, and then yeah, if okay, if there is nothing else, then we wish all of you a good rest of your day, wherever time zone you are from. Enjoy your November, and remember that, yeah, we're going to keep on rocking and just rock out with us.
Yeah, thank you everyone who tuned in on the live stream, and obviously for anybody who can't hear this but read the community document, the community update. We appreciate it. I'm keeping up with the statistics for people who are reading across the WordPress website and checking in because of newsletter subscriptions and things like that. And on top of that, we know exactly how many viewers we're getting on these live streams and how many community interactions we're receiving with engagement for our Friday community questions and things like that. So we really appreciate all of the support. I know the team does as well, especially when we get to show off their awesome content that they're producing each month. So we can't wait for everyone to tune back in next time in December. And thank you so much for tuning in today. And all right, this will mark the end of the live stream. So thank you everybody for tuning in. See you next time.
Thank you.